In prison, you are subjected to a system that will not allow you to move. A routine that cycles you through brick and iron day after day until your mind has been conditioned to believe that the bars are home. And isn't it strange to have a system that's supposed to make us approach our lives differently upon obtaining our freedom, but instead of reforming the mind, it oftentimes invites back the same afflicted hearts it just released. You know, when you've lived behind a wall for so long, you tend to treat freedom like a burden because you're afraid of the outside and how unfamiliar it is to you. You're afraid of freedom because you don't realize that freedom is meant for you, and that's what we do in our minds sometimes. We build up walls trying to keep out the bad things, not knowing that the same bad dreams that we run from are the same ones that help build the rooms that our minds rest in. So we've submitted to situations that shouldn't have any power over the way we feel about ourselves. But I wonder, what would happen if we never lost sight of our identity in spite of the hell we may face? Just like when Paul and Silas found themselves in a dark place, in a cell laced with sorrow, trapped inside of a prison hollow, kind of a hard pill to swallow when the persecution is unfair. Yet they didn't wallow in despair, never lost their flair for prayer and worship. God's perfect plan was still at hand, and no man can stop it. They echoed their worship down the hall. Silas and Paul know the history between the sons of God and walls. Acts, Jericho, those high places tend to fall when voices rise. Thine eyes have seen the coming of our King, so no prison should be able to hold me. But we can't break free because we've tied our worship to our limitations. Don't you know that there are nations in your veins, that the elders have been praying that these chains start breaking off of our mind? I say it's past time for us to break out of this cell, out of this place where we starve ourselves, where pennies for our thoughts are tossed into a wishing well. They wish us well as our hopes swell behind the bars. We can't see the stars past this room, no light in this tomb. I mean, we breathing, but we not eating, not feasting on the spoils of a promised land. So we'll tear apart his cage, even if that means we gotta rip the flesh from these hands, because we desperate to dance and stand on the outside of these walls. Not this room we built for ourselves. I've learned that the mind is just a door to another place. When opened, you step into the realm, into a place with infinite space, without walls or gates, where grace come to shape the reality outside the calamity and tragedy. These walls were destined to fall. Remember the sons, Silas and Paul, when they found themselves in prison, in a place not meant for them. In a room where hope goes to die and men cease to breathe, yet those kings sung the shackles off their feet, praised the hinges off the doors to be free. They made war behind the bars. When your worship becomes bigger than the room, then the doors must be open. We are not yet broken. We were not designed to be confined behind the walls. We align ourselves with identity. We can't be defined by lies. Our roots are in truth, and God be our spine. The bottom line, I can either remain a slave to my mind, or I can take back what's mine, and I won't be denied. Yo, we've been crying too long. Real tears. Couldn't tell you if it's the depression, the malice, or the fear. I don't know much, but I know that God is here, and I know he hears. And because of that, I ain't got to fight the same demons I should have killed last year. I don't know much, but I know that our minds are connected to our freedom. You must first believe that you are free in order to get to that place. You must first believe that you are bigger than the wall that you face. It's been said that life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you respond. Our response is worship.